ladies and gentlemen, I will introduce the chairman of the moderator of the session last, but let me begin by introducing those people that are going to be members of the panel. Give it up as I welcome Mrs. Gift Ike Onuigbo, the National Assembly House of Rep clerk for the Committee on Health, Safety, Standards and Regulations. Please, ma. Once again. I like this woman because this woman can walk and she know the tire. I will go and say, Madam, they have not given me food. She will say, take my own. Madam, you go, come this way. You want to sit at the last time. That music is almost 80% decibel. Right. Let me also welcome Elizabeth Stephen Nweigwe is of Kenes or Kenches Nigeria Limited. Please. Now, fine women there, HSE. If I was not an HSE officer, I would have resigned. Let me also welcome Mr. Amiso Elkana, the corporate HSE manager, Amber Resources Limited. This man is a wonderful auditor. I know him very well. The secretary of Eastbourne Rivers chapter. Him again. And don't be shocked. He looks so good. I handed over to him as the Eastbourne secretary. Is my successor. That's why he's looking very robust while I am drained. Please join me as I welcome Mr. Tokumbo Odebumi, Director Safety Plus. Yes. All right. At this point in time, I would want the moderator of this panel, distinguished engineer. He will be moderating on the topic Achieving HSE Excellence in Nigeria, International Oil and Gas Company Model. Meanwhile, Mr. Ganesh of Trident Steel receiving his award. Yes, we are doing. Okay, is the speaker that Adimora? You can change this mic for me. It's Dr. Adimora Amdi that is. I wanted to be INEC there to give his award to Mr. Ganesh. Mr. Ganesh, you see me after with small backhand. Achieving HSE excellence in Nigeria, the International Oil and Gas Company Model. And our moderator is Engineer Faith Noate. If it is not correct, please pardon me. Noate. I have been asked to take this seat now. I'll be vacant to add Engineer Peter Onuegbu, PhD. Please, sir. All right, thank you very much. Please, sir, you can change this mic so that it's breakable. All right, thank you. Let me hand over to Engineer Nwate, the chairman or the moderator of this panel.
Thank you so much. I'm not the chairman, I'm just the moderator, so I can get my incentive. Thank you, sir. All right, good afternoon, Ladies and gentlemen of the panel, and good afternoon, our audience. I want to first appreciate you all for still staying till this time in this occasion. I want to believe, if not the interest and passion you have for this interesting field of health and safety, you must have left this hall. But I want to say you should put a round of applause for yourself. It's not easy to stay till this time. All right, thank you. So the topic we'll be looking at, which is achieving HSE excellence in Nigeria, the International Oil and Gas Company Model 2. It's a very interesting topic which will take leave from the last speaker. I wish the last speaker was also part of this section, where there are some questions we could have asked him, but notwithstanding, we also have other professionals who can also do justice to those questions. So we'll be starting right about now with a very interesting topic, a very interesting question coming from, I want to have the government perspective first, before we go to the industry perspective. Level? They have one here and have the other one here. All right, so like I said earlier, we'll be starting from the government perspective, and that will be handled by no other person than Mrs. Gift, who will do justice to this question. So, ma'am, what are the role of government and the industry stakeholders in achieving HSE excellence in Nigeria?
Okay, I'm going to come from the National Assembly perspective. HSE, the theme for this particular summit says the lifestyle, HSE lifestyle, the gold mine. I want to honestly attest that since I resumed office as clerk to safety standards, I've clerked other committees in the past, and I've done some sort of research, and it's always a lot more easier for me to navigate around those sectors. And since I resumed in February this year, till now, I still find myself not being able to navigate properly. Why? Because the ground is quite wild. Every sector is involved, and I can no longer comprehend because, honestly speaking, it's so wild. And so for me, it's a gold mine. And so I've come to embrace it like that, and I'm willing to actually dig deep to ensure that, yes, this gold mine will equally be the same thing as mine, because I've seen so many persons testify. However, coming from the place of National Assembly, as government agency, the much you want to know is that laws are embedded in several locations. You go to oil and gas, there is PIA. You go to environment, there are laws, EGASPIN. You go to constructions, there is Factory Act. You equally want to look at ECA. For the past 7 months, I've been working on ECA, Employee Compensation Act, which is embedded in NSITF. And so this has taken me so much to different locations in this country. I've invited not less than 1,000 companies, and I don't want to tell you how much we've generated for NSITF, but then, what are we saying? That there are areas of non-compliances. There are areas of non-conformity. And so if we don't have players in the industry that can equally push, that we speak for the people, and that will advocate, we are going nowhere. We need some sort of, let me call it, synergy from both the government, both the NGOs, CSOs. All players need to come on board, because National Assembly alone cannot drive this. The much company you invite to the National Assembly, the much you hear is, sorry, we don't know what you're talking about. what is audit, what is safety audit, what is compliance to safety what are you talking about? They need constant lecture to understand what it takes to be compliant with safety rules, safety regulations, and all the standards that you can achieve, you can look at from, call it NAFDAC, you have the food safety, call it SON, you have the Standard Organization of Nigeria for everything that you can call, all products that have to do with both electrical and all of that. They are vast. There are so much in different locations. So the much you can do from the government angle is to make sure that these laws that we are churning out day by day brings out some sort of fine to regulate some persons to say, fine, if you are not conforming to this, let us know that you are able to pay so fine. And so, coming from the ECA that I told you have delved into the much we can, when you see that people are not paying for their employees, for their workplace safety, you are seeing people who can come and declare. Take, for instance, a particular company which we came to the National Assembly and declared just about eight staff. And you find out that this particular company has at least not less than 1,000 employees, but are declaring only for 8 staff. What happened to the other staff? Should, in case anything happen, what is going to happen to those number of staff that they didn't declare for? And so, collaboration by you in your own industry is key, because all those laws are made for you, not for the employer. Because the employer will just give you a token, especially coming from the construction companies. We've gotten so much petitions coming from those construction companies. And those construction companies will tell you somebody had fatality, and the much they can pay is give you 100,000, 200,000, and bid you farewell for the rest of your life. And so, who is going to suffer it? You. And so the much you can is, if there are areas of non-conformity, raise an alarm. Get somebody to get in touch with the House of Reps to say, so company is not doing what they're supposed to do, and we begin to chase. And so when we chase these persons, they begin to conform. I think I won't stop from here at this point.
All right. Thank you so much. A round of applause for her. So, from the point you just ended with now, there is an area of concern. When we raise the alarm, how should we raise this alarm that will get to the right ears?
The committee is ever ready. We have very serious listening here. If you are not getting through to the chairman, you are getting through to the committee, just do a letter and send it to the National Assembly, House Committee on Safety Standards, and we are good to go. Great. Whatever it is, we take it and ensure to get to the root of it.
All right, I think a round of applause for her, please. Now, it's very important for us to note that we have a House Committee on Safety, Occupational Health and Safety, so safety standards and regulations, and it is also our responsibility to raise concerns to them. And I want to also add this, probably as a take-home, because we also need high level of awareness, because most of the citizens really don't even know that, oh, I have these rights and privileges to reach out to these committees. They only feel these people can only be reached by the CEOs, the captains of industries, and don't know that at their level, even at the state and local level, there are areas we have the industry courts where you can go make complaints when you have issues. So I want to believe after this section, there is a good take-home for us on how to ensure we can also lend our voices on issues relating to health and safety at the legislative level.
Yeah, the House is for you, and it's your right. Safety is your right. It's embedded in our Constitution. Section 17, subsection 3C, says it is your right to have your workplace safe. And so the much you can is raise an alarm. It is your right. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Another round of applause for her once again, please. All right, so we'll be going straight to Mr. Tukombusa. Yes. Okay. Now, what are the core elements of international model for HSE excellence in Nigeria?
I think if I'm to interpret that in English, it's basically, okay, let me start from my experience in Nigeria. Run a business in the UK for more than 30 years. And my wife has always been a safety professional from Nigeria, the days of 7-Up and all. And so we normally will come to Nigeria. Myself, I'll just come in, pick up a job, go back. But every time I get back to the UK, I will chat with her that, look, this is your profession, you need to go and do something back home. She wasn't so keen about it because she was comfortable and all. So I decided that I'll come. So I came, had meeting with the governor and this and that in Lagos. I'm just paraphrasing the whole thing. I don't want to make it too long. So we set up the Safety Commission in Lagos. It was our idea from the beginning to the very end. Now, my issue is the fact that I think the industry, and let me make it clear, I'm not a safety professional. I'm a safety businessman. I make money in safety. And safety is good. It is good. There's a gold mine there. I can tell you that. Because look, for me to leave UK and sit down here, it means I'm making money, isn't it? There's money in this your industry. But guess what? From that time we set up the Safety Commission, till now, we've not had any other state. Because quite honestly, as I say, politics is local. Your state government must oversee what we are talking about. The other, I think it was Green that was talking about, his situation between production and, maintaining standards, safety standards. Quite honestly, I think we need to get to that point where the CEOs also go on safety courses. In fact, when my wife was at the Safety Commission as the DG, she had planned a workshop to educate judges and, magistrates and all of that, so they applied the right punishment for violations, particularly those very, very bad violations. But what you have, when another government came, all the work she did, they just brought in another politician who took us back about some 10 years. Now we're about 30 years behind. So I'm calling on your industry. You need to sit up. You need to come together. You need to work with our lady here and ensure that, yes, we're indeed serious, so that we just don't have this talk shop and we go back and nothing has happened. 8 years. And it took me someone from outside of your safety industry to set that up. In the UK, there's something we call, if there's a blame, there's a claim. If I should come to your premises and something should happen to me, I will claim. But then again, are we working with this Factories Act that the fine is 500 naira? I don't know if it's changed. Do you understand? So these are main issues that we need to tackle from the very top. They always say that, the CEO is the number one safety person. Yeah, it's in our books. What I've picked up is basically the fact that safety is a priority. We're far from having it as a culture. And that's where we need to be traveling to. It's all right, we can't say we'll get there to have it as a culture overnight. But we must be seen to be going there. Not when I set up the Safety Commission in Lagos. I did the presentation to the government and all. But when it came to the point where they needed to appoint the DG, I think everybody knows that. I told the governor that, look, I'm not a safety professional. It's my wife that has been pushing me. So if you get her, you get me for free. The governor gave me a CV of someone. And I said, this guy does not qualify to do it. So we must get things right. It's very painful when, we have so much. And quite honestly, what I see about Nigeria is the fact that there's so much sizzle. When you go to a burger shop and they're cooking burgers and you can hear it cooking and all of that. There's so much sizzle about everything, but there's no steak on that thing. That's just my issue. My issue with it is that we must come together. And quite honestly, I even think I spend more time with this safety stuff, because since we came to Nigeria, we set up in Nigeria, we have branch in Port Harcourt, and all of that. So for you young ones that are practicing safety, you need to be creative, you need to be, you need to go for it, because I can tell you, because I told my wife before leaving the UK, look, my profession is, I write, I'm a journalist, I used to read news in Nigeria in those days and all of that. That's what I do, and I set up businesses here and there. But I told her I will make more money. There's money in this your safety industry. I don't know if I've actually answered your question, but basically my take on it is the fact that where we have gotten to is what the IOCs have taken us. Let's have our own plan. Because the IOCs, they're doing that safety just to satisfy their international obligations. But as a country at all, particularly this Port Harcourt, you should have a safety commission.
Wow. I think this message will be well passed. And just to inform us, just like you just heard, it means in this industry, you don't just do it as a career. You can also do it and excel very well as a business. That is another aspect that we should look into. One thing you need to know, when we practice safety, it's an act, a deliberate act. But you still need those in the business of safety to also make those acts manifest. As a matter of fact, when it talks about being a business person in safety, it means those things we try to ensure that people comply to that has to do with the physical equipment. They are the ones who try to ensure we get access to them. You talk about your safety boots, coveralls, hard hat, etc. So you still need captains of industries in this sector to achieve your goal as a safety professional. Once again, let's put a round of applause for him for the justice he did to that segment. All right, so let's go to Mrs. Elizabeth. Now, how can Nigeria adapt to the international oil and gas model?
Good afternoon, all. Thank you for that question. How can Nigeria adapt to this international model? By the way, what are these international models that we must adapt to? We have international models that are bringing good quality to the safety in Nigeria. Now, how do we adapt to it? Through training. We need to train, create awareness, build capacity for employees. Let every industry, I'm happy there are industry captains here, there are managers, there are CEOs here. We can adapt to this international model because it is very, very lucrative, it is very, very wise, it is safe for industries to adapt to it. Policies, what are those safety policies? Are there safety policies in your organization? If there are safety policies, are they meant to reduce risks? Are they meant to reduce accidents? If they are, adapt to it. Now, building capacity. Industry captains should learn to build capacity for employees through training, mentorship. When you build capacity for a staff, it helps the staff to be proactive in every other activity they are doing and do what prevents the company from what cost losses. Because when there are accidents, when there are incidents, it costs the company a lot. So for us to adapt to this is to what? Through training, keep training, build capacity for the staffs, for the workers, expose them, mentorship. In fact, collaborations with international organizations. I thank God that Nigeria is one of the partners in International Labour Organization, World Health Organization. Yes, with that we're exposed to international standards. With that we're exposed to international practices, and we can best adapt to those practices because why? They are what? Essential for our safety practices in Nigeria. And again, Nigeria has what? Nigeria has industries that are high-risk industries. So if these industries are not practicing safety and adapting to these safety policies and safety practices and exposing the employees, we are at the verge of collapsing. And we want to drive safety to every nook and cranny in Nigeria, to every industry. So we must adapt to it. We must train. We must build capacity. We must collaborate, joint ventures with other international organizations to see how best, or see those practices that they have been imbibing, how good, how well are those practices. Then we can adapt to those practices and see how we can also improve our safety standards in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you so much. A round of applause for her, please. Now, in a nutshell, knowledge transfer is the key in adaptation. Like I always tell delegates in the course of training or top management in the course of any interface with them, with a simple slogan: if you don't train them, don't blame them. I'll take that again. If you don't train them, don't blame them. You don't assume that they should know if you have not done the right thing by transferring this knowledge, either directly or indirectly, to ensure a safe and healthy workplace. All right, to you, sir. Very much aware how in-depth you've been in the industry. So I would just want you to give us a practical example from the IOCs in achieving HSE excellence in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would start to explain a bit. Now, and by the way, sir, you didn't appear to me as somebody who is not enthusiastic and say, I mean, it's not even business, because the way you spoke, it wasn't about the money. So, having safety as part of your system is not optional. I mean, it's not optional. Now, let me give you some context. There is what was referred to as the 3 I's, okay, in evolution of safety practices. And those 3 I's are basically, incidental, integral, and intrinsic. Currently, we are at the era of the intrinsic safety, which supposes that from the beginning, from the onset, from the beginning of your plan, safety should be planned ahead of it, with it, right? And that's where Dr. mentioned about sustainability safety. So at the end of the day, if you begin to practice safety as incidental, wherein you get to site, you begin to now react, okay, I don't have this, but you begin to know. And you can get it right. When you start to see safety as also integral, okay, we have different departments, different units, so let me see your plan, and you bring them together and you integrate them. It also won't work well. But when you intrinsically see safety as part of your process, from the beginning, we can't get it right. We can't get it wrong. Now, specific to your question, what has IOCs done to promote safety practically? That's what we call the LFIs. Right, so what that supposes is you have an event, of course, event which is not, was not expected, okay? And you go ahead and do a root cause analysis, understand what could have been responsible, what were the failures. It wouldn't end there. You must have a dedicated, okay, process to pass the information to the workforce, particularly when each person there could be the culprit, could be caught in the web of it. So there's the LFI model, where you call lessons from incidents or from events, is a tool which IOCs had used to communicate undesired events. Because would there be events? Yes. Controls are there, but those controls could fail. Now, when it does fail and an event happens, make sure it doesn't repeat itself. And the only way you can do that is learn from it, transmit it to your workforce and those who are matter, the stakeholders, and then we'll begin to put measures so it doesn't repeat itself. So this is just one of them. Second among them is what I also refer as the KATES. KATES basically is to assure you of your competence. So KATES gives you the 4 measures of competence. That means KATES, K stands for knowledge, A stands for ability, or attitude actually. T stands for training, and then E stands for experience. These 4 dimensions must be available, okay? Must be available for you to assess competence. When I came in here, in fact, I'm still looking around to see if I can see some of my safety managers of most of the IOCs or contracting companies, and I can't see any of them here. And so I think I will take that up with Cletus. I mean, next one, you have to have them here. If it means going to, we'll track them. I want to have the HSE managers of all the company, as much as I can, we can. Have them here, so we speak to them directly. It's not a business of those who are HSE professionals, no. I didn't start as an HSE professional, I'm not even an HSE professional in that sense. All I know is that I'm an operations person. And so I cannot operate without operating safely. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for him, please. So the chairman of this event, which is no other person than the DG, just be rest assured in our next segment in 2025, God willing, we should be having more of the captain of industries, subsidiary of Uwandu. I want to believe that. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for him, sir. All right, so for Mr. Ekanen, now, a lot has been said about HSE excellence in Nigeria. But now let's look at how can we address challenges or the unique challenges as regards to HSE in Nigeria?
Okay, that is very fine. I'm trying to look at from which perspective. Now, we have, very quickly, we have positive challenges in the industry and we have negative challenges. So let's look at them from either perception. Negative challenges could be the negative effect of what happened in the industry, and that could be incidents that occur, incident of all classes, and the mother of them could be the fatality, right? And then the loss of business. These and others could be the negative challenges running out of business. But again, there are positive challenges. So how do we address them? Now, there are different models that provide solutions to all these problems. And among this model, you have the chassis model that was talked about. You have the root cause model that was talked about. Now, going straight to the subject matter, you have the ISO 45001-2018, and that has already provided the answer to these challenges. Top on this, in year 6.1, it talks about the challenges that we talk, the risks and the opportunity. And then when you go to year 5.2 and 5.1 specifically, the 5.1 of that model talks about leadership commitment. And I will tell you what, name a challenge in the industry. Name a negative challenge or a positive challenge. This challenge with respect to incident, with respect to business loss, with respect to fatality, with respect to anything, you name it, disaster, they're all anchored on 5.1, leadership commitment. And this leadership commitment can be addressed if we also apply a very simple model that we all know, and that is the PDCA concept, or the cycle itself. So again, we go back, like the last presenter did say, he was very passionate. And I want to ask us, just like the Holy Bible will say, who wants to build a house that will not know what it takes to build a house? So you want to be in the health and safety, you have to do the planning. And the planning, which is the first step of the PDCA concept, it makes you to identify foreseeable challenges, positive, negative. In the planning, it makes you also identify what could need, what are the things that are needed to address these challenges. So if you have already identified these challenges in the industry, and let's say it has to do with incident, all classes of incident, and then it tells you, right, if you have known that this incident will occur, why will it occur? So you go to the next stage. The P is addressed, right? And then in the P, come up with how you are going to address this, whether training, whether provision of resources, whether compliance. Now, I will tell you what. There is no activities in the IOCs, in the NOCs. The young man who made this presentation perhaps omitted the NOCs. Right now, we have the IOCs in the industry. We also have the NOCs in the industry. And you can't be talking about the IOCs without also making reference to the NOCs. They're also very important. So what is the incident that you want to talk about, or the challenge? You call it challenge in the health and safety. We call it the risks and the opportunity. So this must be clearly identified, and there are laws that govern this. And I will tell you what, there is no law that permits a challenge above an industry captain or the owner of the business. There is no law. The law clearly tells you that identify these challenges. Name them, the Factory Act. Name them, the Health and Safety at Work Act. Name it, whichever law, it clearly tells you that there should be what we call the zero incident. And in the IOCs, you come back again. Different IOCs will tell you the goal zero. What does the goal zero mean? There should be no challenge. Negative, positive. Address it. So the way I apply the PDCA concept, if we truly apply the PDCA concept, looking at it, the spirit behind this concept, because for every concept, that's what we call the spirit and also the content itself. And the spirit behind it is to address the foreseeable challenges and the unforeseeable challenges. So if you have done that and they are there are already guidelines to controlling these challenges. There are procedures to controlling these challenges. And then he also talked about a little risk assessment. So we can apply any of the tools for this risk assessment. Do we want to use the event tree analysis, the fault tree analysis, the failure mode analysis, the fishbone, or which of these tools that you want to use that will not give you a verifiable control to addressing the challenge? And then controlling it periodically and coming back to take the action. So all challenges, I would like to say this, that because all model, right, we always emphasize on leadership commitment. So each says who are the leaders? The leaders are the owners of the business. The leaders are those who have been given roles. So if there is a commitment to addressing and identifying these challenges, definitely the solution is there. So again, it's purely compliance to the law, all applicable laws in the industry. Before you do the job, applying the PDCA concept helps to address the challenge, okay? Now, if this is not done, tell me what? These challenges keep occurring and occurring. Now, the challenges in the oil and gas, to some extent, they could be differ from phase to phase, but they all look alike from this side of the world and that of our counterpart in Europe. So why is it that if today somebody is sent to go and work in the US, right, it works very well, and I'll tell you what. Let's take, for instance, driving. Who goes to Europe and drives without a driving license? But in Nigeria, I can stay and